Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Trust you are well. I'm so fascinated and so excited to be on the platform. We're looking at leadership, and feedback. I had with me a good friend of mine, a gentleman, a leader par excellence, was on the John Maxwell team, showing up globally and massively, turning situations that were supposed to be ordinary into mega. Privileged to have with me Odeyemi Olaiwole. How are you today, sir?
I am doing great, Coach Goke. Thank you so much for the opportunity to be on the Leadership Talk with Ade Goke. Amazing work you are doing. I'm still expecting my T-shirt and my mug, and maybe hopefully after this session you are going to post it.
Yes.
But thank.
We're thankful for what God is doing.
Mm,
This is the 74th edition of Leadership Talk with Adegoke. And today we're looking at leadership and feedback. I must say that, the journey has been quite interesting. And I want to also thank you for being my accountability partner. Also thanking you for inviting me to your last conference, Inspired to Lead conference in the city of Port Harcourt, in the city of Jos. Although I was there virtually, but it was massive. I gained a lot of value. I gained a lot of visibility as well. And I just want to salute you and celebrate you. I can't monetize what I got from the session, but I know that it's a journey, like you always say. It's a journey that is gaining some momentum and clarity. Thank you so much. So, who
the
is
pleasure was mine.
Odeyemi?
Thank you for saying yes.
Yes, who is Odeyemi Olaiwole?
Interesting question. Odeyemi Olaiwole is someone who loves people, who loves God. I'm all about relationships. So one word that you can use to summarize who I am is someone who values relationship with people. I believe that relationships are the vehicle to transformation. So I'm a very relational people. I love people. I love to add value to people. I love to inspire people to be the best version of themselves.
Awesome.
I'm a husband to my dear wife of 18 years. My friend for maybe like 27 years or something like that. We're blessed with three wonderful daughters. And yes, that's a little bit about who I am and what I stand for.
Awesome. I want to say that we are so proud of what you're doing all over the world, showing up and adding value. And I know that this session promises to be exceptional.
Yeah.
So, how did you get into leadership, my friend?
Interesting question. I always hear you ask that question because I'm a fan of Leadership Talk with Adegoke, one of your top fans. So I watch most of the episodes. I'm there live and watching the replays. And I hear this question all the time, how did you get into leadership? I think, and yesterday, two friends came more like to engage me in a conversation and interview me also.
Okay.
And that question came up. For me, it was 1996. A friend of mine and I kind of just discovered that we had this calling to walk in the leadership space. We were young people, but somehow we had this eureka moment where we knew that this is what we were going to spend the rest of our lives doing. 1996, the city of Lagos was when that awareness came, that my calling was to walk in the leadership space and to be a bridge between established and emerging leaders. And so that was the beginning. We co-founded what was more like a leadership organization, trying to bring people together and see how we could prepare ourselves for leadership responsibilities. So 1996 was the year. The city was Lagos, and the whole dream and vision was to be a bridge between established and emerging leaders. Because we discovered, I had never heard the coach John Maxwell before on everything rises and falls on leadership.
That's
But we
right.
realized that if there was going to be transformation anywhere, it always has to begin from the head. It flows from the head, and so that's where my journey began in the year 1996. I haven't looked back since then. It's
Wow.
evolved in
Okay.
different forms, in different places, reaching different kinds of people. But we're still on that journey. And like
Yes.
I said, it's a calling, it's not a career. So, regardless of the working environments I've found myself, I've pursued that calling without walls, as the
Wow.
case may be.
With a lot of determination and clarity as
Yeah,
well. I want to thank you for
yeah.
your consistency. You provide a lot of inspiration for some of us, and the energy, the collaborations, the visibility, the impact, the creativity, the focus as well. I just want to salute you for that. Now,
Thank you.
what is leadership to you?
Yeah, I like that question. For me, leadership is living out a set of values that
All
can
right.
transform the life of people and places.
Okay.
So for me, leadership is not a position. Leadership is about a person living out a set of values as the
Okay.
person pursues the vision
Yeah.
that can bring transformation wherever they are and whatever they do.
Awesome.
Like you've heard, leadership is influence. And how do we influence people? Leadership is visual. I was at an event earlier today and I had the privilege to talk. And one of the things I said is, and I said it at the conference that you were a speaker, leadership is visual. Okay, people do what people see. So as I begin to flesh out my vision and my values, it has the ability to transform the way people think, behave, and act wherever they are and whatever they do. So for me,
Awesome.
leadership is about living out
That's right.
your vision based on values that drive that vision, that are transformational.
Wow. 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 That's just so hard. There's one definition, which stuck in my head. Yvonne Johnson. I mentioned it in the second episode, Leadership and Money,
Mm,
with
mm,
Otman, our colleague on the Job Maxwell team. And
yeah.
Yvonne Johnson described leadership as carrying a vision. The
Mm,
leader carries the vision and communicates that vision in such a way that the followers are able to implement that vision. Leadership is carrying a vision in such a manner that is communicated to the team members or the followers in a way
mm.
that they can implement it. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree, but I think that is just one side of the coin.
Yeah.
If we look around the world today, we have a lot of people who have vision,
Yeah.
but they don't have values.
All right.
And so, though the vision may drive people from point A to B, it may not transform them. It
Mm.
may end up using people. And so people feel used and not useful.
Wow.
In a place where there is vision without values, a leader who is driven with vision but not driven with values.
Mm.
And so that's why, for me, my definition of leadership has evolved over the years. That
Yeah.
it's more of my values, that drive the vision. So it's both vision and values.
Wow.
It's
Wow.
not one without the other. You need both of them to be able to change the paradigm, the trajectory of people and places. Yeah, but
Awesome.
I agree with what
Awesome.
you said, but it's just one side of the
Okay.
definition of
So
leadership.
there has to be an alignment.
That's right. Of both vision and values.
Wow. Awesome. Amazing.
Positive vision, positive values. That's what eventually will bring about transformation.
Amazing. Amazing.
Yeah,
Now, if you're
yeah.
just joining us, this is Leadership Talk with Adegoke, the 74th podcast. And I have with me my friend all the way from the city of Jos, Plateau State in Nigeria, a certified John Maxwell coach, speaker, and trainer, a leader par excellence, showing up massively all over the world. And we're so privileged to have him on the platform. His name is Odeyemi Olaiwale. So good to have you once again. And
Thank you
for
so
those
much,
who are going to be
Coach.
watching the replay, please make sure you share this podcast. Share this podcast because there's a lot of value being dished out. Thank you so much for being authentic. Now,
Thank you.
what's the relationship between leadership and feedback?
Yeah, I like that
I
question.
will have said that. Define what is feedback. Okay, what is feedback before we take that?
Okay, so feedback basically is information
Yeah.
that is a product of the reaction of people to your product, your service, or your performance.
All right.
And so it's information that comes as a result of the reaction of people to your product, service, or your performance.
All right.
So that information may be positive or negative, or in between, as the case may be.
Yeah.
But essentially, it's information that is a product of the reaction of people to a product, a service, or performance of a person to given a task.
Awesome. Awesome. Now,
Yeah.
what's the relationship between leadership and feedback?
Yeah, it's very, I'm sure you've heard the saying, and in case you're listening and you haven't heard the saying, that leading begins with listening. Um, Let me connect it to a story I heard that Mandela shared about his father. Nelson Mandela, the great leader of South Africa, the great leader of the 21st century, shared a story about his father, who was a tribal chief. And somehow, as a younger person, Mandela had the privilege to go from village to village or city to city with his father to meet with these tribal chiefs that were under his father. And he
All right.
noticed something. First of all, they would sit down in a circle when all the leaders gathered. And secondly, his father was, though the father was the leader, the father was always the last to speak. Because he wanted to have the opportunity to listen to everybody who was there before he spoke. Now, so if you're going to be an effective leader in any industry, you must start by listening to the people that you are leading.
All
Remember,
right.
it's information.
Yeah.
And information, you can improve. I heard you say at the beginning, I don't know whether it's before we went live, but the essence of feedback is to help you to improve on a product, a service, or performance. Now, if you're not listening to the people who are meant to benefit from that product, service, or performance, there's no way you can improve on
Wow.
what you are doing, because I mean, all you know is what you know. But as you sit down to listen, you're getting information,
That's
and
right.
that information is what you're going to use to improve your person, your performance, your product, or your service. So in leadership, it always begins with listening. That's the only way we can be sure that we're
Excuse me.
hitting the targets. That's the only way we can be sure that we're connecting with the hearts of the people that we're serving. Right now you may be hearing some background noise. We have the privilege to also run a school that my wife is on top. It's nursery to secondary school, and I'm visiting the school today. So I'm in one of the offices in the school, and each time I have the privilege to come around, I hear from the students and all of them. I listen to them, and I get a lot of feedback from listening to these children, because the school exists to serve them. And so as we listen to their feedback, we're able to
To
serve them
improve.
more effectively and efficiently as we improve what we're doing.
Awesome. Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
Feedback is so important. You know,
Yeah.
we have two ears and one mouth, and so it's about speaking less and listening more. Listen with your eyes, listen with your ears, and intentionally listen, because you find that leaders that listen are leaders that transform, are transformational. If you don't listen, you find yourself, you become a transactional leader, because what you just want is to, you know, get your message across, you know, and you're in a hurry to convey your message. But like you said, it has to be intentional. It has to be also with the mindset of improving, because the more you listen, the more you get feedback, and it helps you to become a better person. Excellent. So, what happens to a leader that refuses to uh, use feedback or implement feedback?
Yeah, well, the first of all is that you just discover that you're disconnected from those that you're serving.
All right.
Whether it's, I use the term from the bedroom to the boardroom now,
That's right.
because I believe that leadership begins from the home.
Mm,
And there are six major sources of feedback, and maybe we may get into that. But once a leader is not listening to feedback, you can't evolve into the best version of what you have the capacity to become. Now,
mm,
you spoke a while ago of the fact that you spoke at our conference. Now,
mm.
it will interest you to know, Coach,
Yeah.
that my choice of you as one of the speakers wasn't because you're my friend.
Yeah.
My choice of you as one of the speakers was based on feedback I got from an important partner in the process.
Wow. Wow.
Yes, they said that one of the topics they felt that should be shared in the conference was on customer service.
Wow.
Now, so if you notice, initially it wasn't there,
Mm,
but after sitting down for a learning lunch with one of my clients,
mm.
and ask them questions and listen to their feedback, that was one of the recommendations they made. And the
Wow.
first thing that came to my mind, okay, I didn't have to think because I already had a friend who is a certified customer service consultant and coach that is a global player.
Thank you
And so I
so
reached
much.
out to you. I would love you to be a part of the conference. It was based on feedback.
Wow.
And the feedback that has been coming from the session is still amazing because it was very relevant to the people. So
Wow.
any leader who is not listening to feedback cannot evolve to become the best. And you just discover you're not serving the needs of the clients.
Mm,
Okay, so and we're in business to see how we meet the needs of people out there. And there's no way you can meet their needs if you're not listening to them, to find out, okay, what do you really want? How
yeah.
do you want it? When do you want it? And all of these questions just help you to be able to serve them better. So I just gave you a typical example, that just listening to feedback helps you evolve. Our conference too has evolved because we take feedback serious.
Wow.
The topics we pick, the speakers, the style, the approach is all based on feedback from the six major sources of feedback.
Wow. 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 Excellent. Excellent. I mean, even at your conference, I learned that in business, 38% of, you know, um, building a business effective performance is based on feedback. 38% represents,
That's right.
yeah, yeah.
That's
And I
amazing.
was,
I mean, you can see.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So if you are not able to use feedback regularly, that means that business is not likely to grow. As a matter of fact, the business is likely to die faster. Is that correct?
Yeah. Very true. I mean, and going back to your first question, a lot of people get feedback, but they don't use it.
Wow.
Now, so this is one thing I do immediately after every event. For example, the conference, the most important document there is the feedback form,
Hmm, hmm,
whether it's the one for the virtual participants or the physical participants. What
hmm.
I do 48 hours after the conference or the event or the master class or whatever is to go through the feedback forms and see what people said. Okay. And I use that to plan the next event or the next conference or the next
Wow.
master class.
So there's always an improvement.
There's always an improvement, and it is
Awesome.
based on eyes I don't have. I mean, our mentor said some of my best thinking has been done by other people. You
Mm,
know,
mm.
getting
Yeah.
feedback and using it is using the thinking of other people to improve
Yeah.
yourself and your business.
Honestly, I must say, my late dad, he had a strategy.
Mm, mm,
Um, when he was, you know, running his office. So I went there one day and I said, "We keep on having guests, from morning to evening." He transited from being in paid employment to starting his own law firm. I said,
mm,
why is it that you keep on having people from morning to evening, guests coming in. He said the reason why is that, he's trying to use other people's knowledge. Although he already has his own position, but that I'll be amazed at the knowledge that he has gained in the last 1 month, intentionally, bringing in people to the office, listening to them speak, and taking notes. So I was pretty much impressed, because I never thought it was so important to have people coming in, using other people's knowledge and, to complement what you had. What do you say to that?
That is an amazing strategy where you are picking people's brains, and a lot of times you may do it for free or for a fee. It's an informal way of having a think tank where you build plans and strategy. So it's a strategy I use myself. And like I said, I engage the 6 key major stakeholders in actually gleaning out information on people's reactions to what I threw out there to the marketplace. Everything is giving you feedback, but it's left for you to evaluate it, and I think that's where the problem is. People get feedback, but we don't really take time to evaluate the feedback we got. And that's what your father was doing. He was intentionally doing that, and his best thinking was done by a lot of people. I mean, you were there at the conference. You saw that deputy vice chancellor of the university who was there.
That's right. Yeah.
He came for our first conference. This was the 4th edition. He was there for the first, and he gave some feedback. The feedback he gave, I used it in the next conference.
Wow.
It determined an approach, a speaker I chose, a topic I chose, and I was giving him feedback then. Now imagine his response when people give feedback and you use it. It makes them feel valuable, and they become a part of your team. So they may not be part of your core team, but they're part of your team, rooting for your success. Because they know that their eyes, their ears, their thinking is important to you, and what they say matters.
That's right.
So when you don't use feedback that is given as a leader, one of the things you're telling the people is that you don't value them.
Wow.
Because when you don't use people's suggestions or ideas, you're simply saying they don't really have much value. Awesome. And that also reduces the value they bring to the table the next time.
Wow. Awesome. If you just joined us, this is Leadership Talk with Adegoke, and I'm here with my friend and my brother from the city of Jos, Plateau State, Nigeria, a certified leadership coach on the John Maxwell team, and a globally licensed speaker, teacher, trainer, author of the book, The Leaders Love Quotient, on Leadership Talk with Adegoke, the 74th podcast. And we're looking at leadership and feedback. Coach Odeyemi Olaiwole. Now, I know you have 6 ways, 6 strategies for feedback, but because of time, I just wanted to touch on 3 strategies.
Okay, so there are 6 sources, major. They're not the only source. I had 5. And when I shared this talk somewhere, one of the participants who gave feedback, that's the power of receiving feedback, gave me the 6th one that I knew, but I wasn't too conscious of. So you have your customers. These are people who may come to seek, want to buy your product or buy it once and they go. Number 2 is the clients. These are people that you've retained over a long period of time. You also have colleagues who work with you.
So you have and share the 6 then, because we just want you to be generous. Thank you.
Okay.
So customers, clients, colleagues, yes.
Then you have the competitors.
All right.
Okay. Then you also have children. All right. Then you have the conscience.
All right.
So basically, the customer comes, they may buy something once, they may make inquiry. They buy once, they don't come again. They make inquiry, they don't buy again. Now, it's important you need to find out, why did they buy only once? Why didn't they come back? So you engage them, and there are different questions you ask these 6 categories of people. So the key thing to getting out information is the quality of questions. So in feedback is the questions. So there are questions I ask customers, to find out, get feedback from them. 2 is the client. These are people I've retained over the year. I mean, I have a client that every year I'm doing a retreat for their leadership team. My wife had to ask me once, are they not tired of having you as a speaker? And I told them as I went back towards the end of last year, preparing for this year, and they said they're not tired. They're going to even have the next one in Dubai, and I'm also going to be a speaker there.
Wow,
You know,
wow, glory be to God.
so their
Wow.
clients, I've retained them over 5 years or 6 years.
That's right.
You know,
right.
so
Right.
tomorrow I have a meeting with the CEO of that organization. I'm going to get feedback from him.
Wow.
I
Wow.
booked an appointment, a learning lunch,
Wow.
and I'm going to ask questions that are going to help me to take myself and my business to the
That's
next
right.
level.
That's right. I mean, I've
You
been in
know,
organizations, where, I'm on retainership and, have one or two executives that take me into the office and say, look, this is the mind of the MD. He would like to hear things like this. This is the mind of the people that you're training. They would like to hear things like this, So it's you have a bouquet of feedback, and
that's right.
you keep on showing up, and it does the trick.
And
So it's like
it's not your idea.
yeah, it's like a cheat code, Well, I'm enjoying this.
Yeah.
Is an amazing session. I feel so
Yeah.
relaxed and thankful. I want to celebrate you and salute your authenticity. You're a brother, a friend, and accountability partner. Thank you for what you're doing and all the feedback you've given me over the years, particularly during the lockdown, and helping us to tweak even leadership talk with Adegoke. Now, we just have three more questions.
Okay.
So, what is that one thing that you like to say to our audience, to help them, have a good feedback strategy? One thing.
Well, one thing, maintain the right attitude. When feedback comes, sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. The good, the bad, the ugly. But you have just maintain the right attitude and know it's for your good. Okay, so even when they throw stumbling blocks, you can use those stumbling blocks as stepping stones.
Yeah.
Okay, so your attitude is golden when it comes to feedback. The moment the attitude is not right, you're going to stop getting feedback. And once you stop getting feedback, you end up going to the back. I tell people, feedback is what stops us from staying at the back. So we keep getting ahead because we're getting feedback. But once you have the wrong attitude towards it, it stops flowing. And you can't be helped to improve and to get better at what you do. So maintain the right attitude, whether it's the good, the bad, the ugly of feedback.
Yeah, good. Now, I want to challenge you, the 6 sources, before I take the last 2 questions. You mentioned children.
Okay.
How about your spouse, for those who are married?
Okay, yeah. So the spouse will come under colleagues. Now, one thing I try to do is I put them the same letter so that people could remember them. So I see
but
my spouse.
Say, no, I'm not your colleague. Your wife might say, if she hears it now, say, look, I'm not your colleague. I'm your wife.
No, she's not colleague in the sense that we're partners in what we're doing.
Yeah.
Like I told you, right now, I'm in the school, right? So it's a joint venture, but my wife runs it. Okay, but today I'm here. Okay, so we discuss matters on how the business run. I come here, I do trainings for them, I do evaluations, I am involved in interviewing of staff and all of that, though I'm not domiciled over here. Okay, so I'm her colleague, her partner in this business too. And so I give feedback from my own perspective. The same way she gives feedback from her perspective in what I do in my consulting and coaching business.
Awesome.
So she's my colleague, and also she's also one of the directors in that business too. Okay,
awesome. Yes. That's fantastic. I've given feedback, and you have also clarified. Which is a good thing.
Yeah.
Now,
that's right.
Who are your mentors?
Good question. I have so many mentors. It depends on in which area.
Well, just it might not be exhaustive, but just a few. Just to let our listeners enjoy that privilege.
Okay, so number one on my list is Dr. John C. Maxwell. Like for over 2 decades, I've followed Dr. Maxwell. First of all, through his books. Now in person, I have the privilege to walk alongside with him. People like Rick Warren have transformed my life. His book, The Purpose-Driven Life, was a major shift in my life. And so I've met him personally also. So there People like Brian Tracy
All right.
have been major influences in my work ethics and culture too.
Oh, amazing.
Um, in the spiritual, people like David Abiore to have been, he's been a father in the faith to me. Yeah, so the list can go on and on of people who have shaped my parents. My father and my mother have been
Wow.
major pillars. I learned
Awesome.
everything I knew from the beginning from their own example. Even today in
Well
my
done.
talk I
Well
did
done.
somewhere, I use them as an example.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
Wow. Just an amazing session. If you just join us, this is Leadership Talk with Adegoke. I've been on the platform with my friend, my brother, accountability partner, Odeyemi Olaiwale. Finally, finally, if our listeners want to reach you, how do they reach you?
So many ways. You can find me on social media on Odeyemi Olaiwale, Facebook, I think Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn also, I think is Yemi Olaiwale.
Okay.
Yeah, or you can shoot me an email at olaiwaleodeyemi@yahoo.com also.
Awesome.
Or through
Awesome.
Coach Adegoke or Motola. I mean, this is my accountability partner. We're constantly giving each other real
That's right.
time feedback.
That's
So if you
that's
reach
right.
Leadership Talk with Adegoke, he will always be able to reach out to me too for coaching, master classes, speaking engagements, trainings. We're there to just help you get to where you want to get and become the best version of yourself.
Thank you. So you've heard it from the man who has the master key to leadership. sorry, sorry, that was just yeah. He has the master key to leadership, and he's an amazing gentleman. So thank you for coming on Leadership Talk with Adegoke, and I just want to salute you and celebrate you. Thank you to everyone. So you have a wonderful,
Thank you very much for
wonderful
having me.
time. Till next time. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.